أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم Assalamu alaikum dear viewers, welcome to Jamil TV. We are here to study the commentary on the contents of Surah 107 Al-Ma'un, the assistance. Let us start our study. Belief and practice. This surah of 7 short verses tackles an important and vital issue which could very well change the common meanings normally assigned to the terms faith or iman or disbelief or kufr. Moreover, it brings out the fundamental truth intrinsic in the nature of the Islamic faith, the enormous benefit it offers to all humanity, and the abundant blessings with which Allah favored mankind when He sent them His last message. As a way of life, Islam is not built on ostentation and superficiality. The apparent aspect of the different acts of worship are, according to Islam, meaningless unless they are motivated by sincerity and devotion to Allah. Worship sincerely motivated produces effect within a person's heart, and these cause him to act righteously. The effects of worship are reflected in a type of social behavior which elevates man's life on this earth. No less true is the fact that Islam is not a loose, fragmentary, disjointed system from which one can pick and choose at leisure. On the contrary, it is a complete way of life with acts of worship and rites, as well as individual and collective obligations that are mutually complementary. Together, they lead to a goal of which mankind is the sole beneficiary, a goal which ensures that hearts are purified, life is ennobled, and men cooperate for the common good and progress, a goal wherein abound Allah's blessings. A person may profess to be a Muslim, that is, he accepts this religion and all its principles, offer prayers regularly, and observes other acts of worship, and yet is lacking in the essence of faith and sincerity of belief. In fact, he may be very far from these, for there are signs which indicate the firm establishment of these qualities in people's heart. As explained in the commentary on Surah 103, the declining day, the essence of faith, once firmly rooted in people's hearts and minds, immediately begins to operate and manifest itself in their behavior. The Surah stresses unequivocally that if this is not the case, there is no faith. Have you seen him who denies religion? It is he who thrusts the orphan away and does not urge others to feed the needy. Verse 1 to 3. The surah starts with the question addressed to all who can see, generating suspense and holding their attention in order to make them discover the target and subject of the surah. Who is this creature identified by the Quran as the one who denies the religion of Islam? The answer is given immediately. It is he who thrusts the orphan away and does not urge others to feed the needy. Verses 2 to 3. This definition of unbelievers may sound surprising when compared with the traditional definition of faith, but this is the crux of the matter. Indeed, the one who denies the faith is he who harshly pushes away the orphan, humiliating him and hurting his feelings, and who does not care for the needy or their welfare. For if the truth of Islam has touched his heart in any degree, he would not commit such acts. True beliefs in Islam is not a verbal statement but an overall change of the individual's heart, motivating him to benevolence and goodwill for all his fellow beings that are in need of his care and protection. Allah does not want mere words from his servants but demands deeds to support the spoken words which otherwise are as weightless and valueless as blown ash. Nothing can be more forceful than these three verses in affirming the facts which represent the nature of faith. We do not intend here to indulge in a juristic discussion on the boundaries of faith and Islam. These are required in legal affairs. Whereas this surah states the facts from Allah's point of view and judgment, which is quite different from the legal aspects. Next, Allah offers a practical illustration of what is meant above. Woe then to those who pray but are heedless of their prayers. Verses 4 to 5. These verses contain Allah's invocation against or a threat of destruction to those who offer prayers but are careless about them. Who exactly are such people? They are those who put on a show of piety but refuse to give even the smallest help to others. Verse 6 to 7. Those who perform prayers but who do not aptly meet their requirements, they execute the mechanical aspects and pronounce the verbal formulae of prayer, but their hearts are never alive to them, nor do they benefit by the spiritual nourishment prayer gives. The essence and purpose of prayer and its component parts, such as Quranic recitation, supplication, and glorification of Allah, are never present in their soul. They offer prayer only to deceive others and not out of devotion to Allah. Hence, they are inattentive when they pray. They only outwardly perform their prayers. Muslims are required to offer their prayers regularly, having in mind that their prayers are a manifestation of their servitude to Allah alone. Thus, prayer leaves no result in those who are neglectful and inattentive to it. Consequently, they refuse to give any kindness or help to their fellow beings and deny the slightest charity to any of God's servants. Once again, we find ourselves presented with the fundamental truth and nature of this religion. A Quranic verse threatens with destruction those who offer prayers precisely because they carry out meaningless movement devoid of any spirit or sense of purpose, intended for deceit and pretense and not devoted to Allah, since their prayers have not affected their hearts and behavior, they are not merely useless but rather a sin for which they will be punished. We thus gather the purpose behind what Allah demands of His servants when He instructs them to believe in and worship Him. He seeks no benefit thereof for Himself, as He is in no need of anyone or anything. All He cares for is their own welfare and prosperity, purification of their hearts, and happiness in their lives. Allah wishes human life to be elevated, happy, based on pure motives, and characterized by mutual compassion, brotherhood, and purity of hearts and behavior. To where then is humanity driving itself, moving away from this abundance of mercy, away from this wonderful and sublime path? How can mankind debase itself to living in the wilderness of a wretched and gloomy Jahiliyyah when it beholds the splendid light of faith before its very eye at the crossroads where it now stands. Alhamdulillah, we have completed the study of this surah. May Allah bless us to follow the teachings contained in this surah. Ameen. Thank you for joining me.